Package in a package. You need a biscuit in an airtight sanitary package with Cracker Barrel, obsolete.
Obsolete. Cracker Barrel went out the window. The mailbox cut the chalk on the stove. Changed the approach of the traveling salesman, made it pretty hard.
No, it didn't, but you gotta know the territory.
Gone with the hogshead, casket, demijohn. Gone with the sugar barrel, pickle barrel, milk pan. Gone with the tub and the pail and the tears.
Ever meet a fellow by the name of Hill?
No! Just a minute. Never heard of any salesman. Hill.
Now, he doesn't know the territory.
He doesn't know the territory.
It's a fella's line.
Never worries about his life.
Never worries about his life.
Or the Cracker Barrel being obsolete, or the You Need a Biscuit in an airtight sanitary package, or the Model T Ford.
Just a minute.
He never worries about his life.
Never worries about his line.
What a doggone thing. He's just a bang, big, bell-ringing, big hall, great gold neck and nothing, rip-roaring, every time a bullseye salesman. That's Professor Harold Hill.
Tell us, what's his line?
He's a fake, and he doesn't know the territory.
Look, what do you talk?
He's a music man.
He's a what?
He's a music man, and he sells clarinets to the kids in the town with the big trombones and the rat-a-tat drums and the big brass bass. And the piccolo. Uniforms, too, with a shiny gold braid on the coat and a big red stripe running.
Well, I don't know much about bands, but I do know you can't make a living selling big trombones. No, sir. Mandolin picks, perhaps, and here and there a Jews.
No, the fella sells bands, boys' bands. I don't know how he does it, but he lives like a king. And he dallies, and he gathers, and he plucks, and he shines. And when the man dances, certainly, boys, what else? The piper pays him. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. When the man dances, certainly, boys, what else? The piper pays him. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But he doesn't know the territory.
River City, just crossed the state line in the highway. Population 2,212. Cigarettes illegal in this state.
Well, if you're all through, I'll tell you about Harold Hill.
You really know Harold Hill?
Never saw him in my life, but I know this much. He's given every one of us a black eye. Once he's worked the town over, the next salesman to arrive gets automatically tarred and feathered and moved out to the city limits on a rainbow. You think that's funny? When this happens to you, your hair never grows back. Come on now, Charlie, why has he got to get rode out of town on a rainbow?
Because we're to sell band instruments and uniforms and instruction books.
He has to guarantee to teach those kids to play.
Well,
And to form them kids into a band with himself as a leader.
What's wrong with that?
You don't know one note from another. That's what's wrong with that.
you don't know a bass drum from a pipe organ. I'll catch up with that swindling two-bit double rigger, and when I do, I'll squeal on him till I'm...
Wow, you're really mad, Charlie. I'd sure like to be with you when you catch up with that fella.
Well, he won't be on this trip. Not in Iowa. Not even the great Professor Harold Hill trying to sell them neck-rolled Hawkeyes out here. On aboard!
Gentlemen, you intrigue me. I think I'll have to give Iowa a try.
Believe I caught your name.
Don't believe I dropped it.
Thank you.
Pardon me, madam, but could you recommend a nice first-class four-star hotel?
Why don't you try the Palmer House in Chicago?
Excuse me, son, but what do people do around here for excitement?
Mind our own business.
There's nothing halfway about the Iowa way to treat you when we treat you, which we may not do at home. There's an Iowa climb, a special chip on the shoulder, attitude we've never been without that we recall. We can be cold as a fall in the moments are in December. We can ask about our weather in July, and we're so fired on stuff.
you want to go around in your drawers all day.
And there I was in the Madison Hospital, and nobody come to see me. Cousin Will never come, and Bertha never come.
Oh, your Aunt Bertha's dead.
She wouldn't have come anyway.
We can be cold as a rolling thermometer in December if you ask about the weather in July. And we're so fine, our star, we can stand punching noses for a week at a time and never say eye to eye. But we'll give you our shirts and the back to go with it. If your rock should happen to die. What the heck? You're welcome. Glad to have you with us. Even though we may not ever mention it again, you really ought to give Iowa to you, Des Moines, Davenport, Marshall, Mason City, Gilroy, Ames, Clear Lake. But to give Iowa a try.
Ah, Mr. Squires. Yes, I'm interested in a rig for Sunday if you could accommodate me.
And I expect you not to see the man in charge of hiring rigs. Who is late, as usual.
Hey! Gregory! Marcellus! You old son of a gun! What the Professor Hill's the name. Harold Hill.
Oh, but Greg, what are you doing here? Why didn't you tell me you was coming?
I didn't know I was coming myself. Besides, how'd I know you'd end up in a little tank town like this? You were a pretty big slipper when you were in business with me.
It's pretty close shaves the way you look. Besides, I got me a nice comfortable girl, Ethel Toffelmeyer, boss's niece.
Gone legitimate, huh? I knew you'd come to no good.
See, new pitch. Oh no, it's still in the band business. I heard you was in steam automobiles.
I was.
What happened?
Somebody actually invented one.
No.
Now, give me the lowdown here, Horace.
You'll never get anywhere in the band business with these stubborn islands, Greg. Besides, we got a stuck-up music teacher here who'll expose you before you get your grip unpacked.
Male or female?
Music teacher? She's the librarian. Female.
Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. If she passes by, point her out to me.
I will. How are you gonna start the pitch?
Same old way. Keep that music teacher off balance. Then my next step will be to get your town out of the serious trouble it's in.
Well, the city isn't in any trouble.
Then I'll have to create some. I'll have to create the desperate need for a boys' band, you remember? Now, what's new around here? What can I use?
Well, nothing that I can really think.
Except a billiard palace just put in a new pool table. They never had a pool table here before? Nah, only billiards. See you later, Marks. And don't forget, music teacher.
Music teacher.
Ah! Mr. Double-Up! Yep. Friend, either you're closing your eyes to a situation you do not wish to acknowledge, or you are not aware of the caliber of disaster indicated by the presence of a pool table in your community. Well, you got trouble, my friend. Right here, I say trouble, right here in River City. Why, sure, I will give you praise, but I'm not saying I've always right I say it. I consider that the hours I spent with a cue in my hand are golden. You have to cultivate a horse sense with a cool head, keen eye. Generally, you can try and give an ironclad lead for yourself from a 3-12 billiard shot. But just as I say it takes judgment, brains, maturity to score in a more fine game, I say that any fool can take and shove a ball in a pocket. And I call that sloth. The first big step on the road to the depths of the day. I say first, medicinal wine from a teaspoon, then beer from a bottle. And the next thing you know, your son is playing more money in a pitchback suit. And listen to some big out of town Jasper. Hear him tell about horse race gambling. Not a wholesome drunk race, no, but a race where they sit down right on the horse. Like to see some stuck-up jockey boy sitting on Dan Patch. Make your blood boil? Well, I should say. Now, friends, let me tell you what I mean. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pockets at the table. Pockets that mark the difference between a gentleman and a bum with a capital B and that rhymes with P and that stands for pool. And all week long, your River City youth will be frittering away. I say your young men will be frittering away there. Noon time, supper time, chore time too. Get them all in the pocket, never mind getting dandelions rolled in the screen door patch of a beefsteak pounded. Never mind pumping any water when your parents are caught with a cistern empty on a Saturday night. That's trouble. Yes, we got lots and lots of trouble. I'm thinking of the kids in the Knickerbocker. Sure tell young ones, peeking in the pool hall window after school. We got trouble. Folks right here in River City. Trouble with a capital T and that rhymes with P and that stands for pool. Now, I know all you folks are the right kind of parents. I'm going to be perfectly frank. Would you like to know what kind of conversation goes on while they're loafing around them halls? They'll be trying out Devos, trying out Cubans, trying out tailor-mades like cigarette beans, and bragging all about how they're going to cover up a telltale breath with sense in one fine night. They leave the pool hall, headed for the dance with the orphan, liberty men and scarlet women, and ragtime. Shameless music that'll wrap your son, your daughter in the arms of the total animal instinct mass hysteria. Friends, the idle brain is the devil's playground. Trouble! That's all right here in River City. With the capital T and that rhymes with P and that stands for pool. Pretty sure they got trouble. Right here in River City. Gotta figure out a way to keep the young ones moral after school. Children's gonna have trouble. Mothers of River City. Heed that warning before it's too late. Watch for the telltale signs of corruption. The minute your son leaves the house, does he rebuckle his knickerbocker below the knee? Trouble! Is there a nicotine stain on his index finger? Trouble! Is there a dime knot hidden in the corn crib? Trouble! Is he starting to memorize jokes out of Captain Billy's whiz bag? Trouble! Are certain words creeping into his conversation? Words like sweat, and so's your old man. When I saw my friends, you got trouble. We got trouble right here in the city. With the capital T that rhymes with P and that stands for pool. Pretty sure we got trouble. Right here in the city. Remember the main
was, Mama, all evening. Mama, a man with a suitcase has been following me all over town.
Oh?
Ooh! I never saw him before.
Did he say anything?
He tried.
Did you say anything?
Mama, of course not. Don't dawdle, Amaryllis. So don't orate me a little slower. Please keep the fingers curved as nice and high as you possibly can. Don't get faster, dear.
If you don't mind my saying so, it wouldn't have hurt you to have found out what the gentleman wanted.
I know what the gentleman wanted.
What, dear?
You'll find it in Balzac.
Excuse me for living, but I never read it.
Neither has anyone else in this town.
There you go again with that same old caramel about the low mentality of River City people and taking it all too much to heart.
Now, Mama, as long as the Madison Public Library was entrusted to me for the purpose of improving River City's cultural level, I can't help my concern that the ladies of River City keep ignoring all my counsel and advice.
But darling, when a woman has a husband and you've got none, why should she take advice from you? Even if you can't pull Balzac and Shakespeare and all them other highfalutin Greeks.
Mama, if you don't mind me saying so, you have a bad habit of changing every subject.
No, I haven't changed the subject. I was talking about the stranger.
The stranger.
With the suitcase, maybe the very last chance.
Mama, do you think that I'll allow a common masher? No, really, Mama. I have my standards where men are concerned, and I have no intention.
I know all about your standards, and if you don't mind my saying so, there's not the man alive who can hope to measure up to that blend of Paul Bunyan and St. Casanova. Whether you concocted for yourself, and in your Irish imagination, your eye was stubbornness and your library full of books.
Well, if that isn't the best I ever heard.
Thank you. Can I have a drink, please?
May I?
May I have a drink, please?
Yes, dear.
Winthrop, it's after dark. Now, is that any way to come into the house? Hello. That won't do it, Tom. I'll have a kiss from you, bye. That lady over there is your sister, young man.
Hello, Winthrop.
Winthrop, where are your manners?
I'm having a party on Saturday. Will you please come? I would especially like it very much if you come, Winthrop.
Well, Winthrop, Amaryllis asked you to her party. Are you going or aren't you?
No.
No what?
No, thank you.
You know the little girl's name.
He won't say Amaryllis because of the S, because of his lips. He's ashamed.
We know all about his lisp, Amaryllis. Well, Winthrop,
I'll bet he won't say it. No, thank you, Amaryllis. Amaryllis! Amaryllis! He's crying. Why does he get so mad at people? Just because of his lisp?
It's not just because of his lisp, Amaryllis. That's only a part of it.
What's the other part?
Never mind, dear. It's just that he never talks very much.
Not even to you and your mother?
No, dear. We all have to learn to be a little patient.
I'm patient, even though he doesn't ever talk to me. But I do him. Every night, I say goodnight to him on the evening star. You have to do it the very second you see it, too, or it doesn't count. Good night, I Winthrop. Good night. Sleep time.
Oh, there, darling. You have lots of time. If not Winthrop, there'll be someone else.
Never. I want to be an old maid like you. I'm sorry, Miss Marion. Can I play my crosshand?
May I?
May I play my crosshand, please?
You may.
See, without a sweetheart, you have no one to say goodnight to on the evening star.
I know, Amaryllis. But for the time being, just say goodnight, my someone. You can put the name in when the right someone comes along.
All right. It's better than nothing.
Yes, it is. Now you can play your crosshand piece.
Now I may play my crosshand piece.
Good night, my someone. Good night, my love. Sleep tight, my someone. Sleep tight, my
Madison Gymnasium. Now count the 11.
Fourscore. Fourscore and 7. The school board will now present a patriotic table. Why? The school board will not present a patriotic tableau. Some disagreement about the costumes, I suppose. Instead, the Watangi girls of the local wigwam of Hiawatha will now present a spectacle, my wife. In which my wife, Elena McKechnie, will take leading part.
Remember, my friends, when a handful of trumpet players did to the famous, fabled walls of Jericho. Oh, billiard parlor walls come tumbling down. Oh, a band will do it, my friends. Oh, yes, I mean a boys' band. Do you hear me? I say River City's gonna have a boys' band, and I mean she needs it today. Well, Professor Harold Hill's on hand. River City's gonna have a boys' band. Sure as the Lord make little green apples, that band's gonna be a unicorn. John, Will, Teddy, Fred, and you'll see the glitter of crashing cymbals, and you'll hear the thunder of rolling drums, and the shimmer of trumpets, ta-ta-da, and you'll feel something akin to the electric thrill I once enjoyed when Gilmore, Liberace, Pat Conway, the Great Creator, W.C. Handy, and John Philip Sousa all came to town on that very same historic day. with 110 cornets right behind. There were more than 1,000 reeds springing up like weeds. There were horns of every shape and kind. There were copper-bottomed symphonies on the tune, thundering, thundering all along the way. Double bell euphoniums and big bassoons, each bassoon having its big band say. There were 50 guarded cannon in the battery, thundering, thundering louder than before. Clarinets of every size and trumpeters who'd improvise the whole octave higher than the score.
76 trombones in the counterpoint, 110 cornets blaze away. The rhythm of march, 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 all the kids began to march, and the marching still right today.
You watch your brace out. Chief. I know what you was doing, my little Gracie Senior. Now, you stay away from my oldest girl, or you'll hear from me till who laid the rails. Till! I'll talk to you about this band thing Monday morning over to City Hall. First thing, 10 o'clock, sharp. Men, I want that spellbinder's credentials.
Constable, I'll be responsible for the boy.
You don't know this kid. He's tough and he's got his gang waiting outside.
Oh, I'll be careful. Tommy, want to talk to you about the band?
Gee, Professor, that's for little kids.
I'm not talking about you playing in the band. You're mechanically minded, aren't you? Ever do anything with perpetual motion?
I nearly had it a couple times.
You did? Well, then you're my man. You know, nobody's ever invented a music holder for a marching piccolo player. No place to hold the music.
Gee, Clyde, I wonder where I can get some wine from.
Well, look in your cellar. That's where people keep wine. Tommy.
Yes, sir?
Now, Constable, I'll show you how to break up a gang. Young lady, miss, what's your name?
Zanita! I didn't have any idea you expected of me.
Zenita, do you know Tommy Cheers?
Well, I'm not supposed to.
Tommy, this is Zenita. Escort the young lady home.
Except I'm not going home. I have to go to the library.
Well, then escort the young lady home by way of the library. By way of the candy kitchen.
Yes, sir. Do I have to?
Oh, you have to.
Yes, sir.
Well, you're a pretty bright fella, Professor. I made a couple of mistakes, though.
Oh.
The mayor happens to own that billiard parlor and that new pool table.
Oh. And what would be my other mistake?
Well, that's Anita. She's the mayor's oldest girl.
Oh!
Just a minute, Professor. We'd like to have your credentials. We're the school board.
Academic certificates.
Nothing of the kind. We need letters and papers.
Make him put up a bar!
What am I hearing? Say.
Ice cream. Ice cream, but I don't sing, young man.
All
That's
right,
why.
all right, then talk it.
Down here. Ice cream. Talk slow. Ice cream.
You see, singing is only
Sustained talking. Now you sing.
Ice cream.
Now you sing.
Ice cream. Now you sing.
Ice cream!
You see, ladies, from now on you will not see one of these men without the other three.
Oh, Professor, you're wrong. They've hated each other for 15 years.
Ice cream! Ice cream! Ice cream!
How can
Saturday night rowdy at a public dance hall.
Well, I wouldn't know about that myself. I'm a conservatory man. Gary, Indiana gold medal class of '05.
Even if that were to happen to be true, does that give you the right to follow me around wherever I go? And another thing, Mr. Hill, I am not as easily mesmerized or hoodwinked as other people in this town. And I find it fair to warn you that I have a shelf full of reference books in which there may very well give me some interesting information about you.
Well, I'd be happy to...
Hey, Pops, don't call me Greg. I had to make out the music teacher.
Scrumptious! Ain't out of my hand the minute I tip my hat.
She did! Oh, boy, did you cut a spot tonight. For a minute, even I thought you knew something about leading a band. Just like when you used to imitate that old band concert fella back in Joplin.
That's kid stuff. I'm in rare form these days. You just keep your eyes on me for the next 4 weeks, son.
4 weeks? Oh, but it only used to take 10 days for the instruments to arrive.
Well, it still does, but it takes 4 weeks for the uniforms.
Oh, no, Greg. You haven't had uniforms.
Uniforms and instruction books.
Instruction books? But you can't pass yourself off as a music professor. Not many 4 weeks.
Mars.
But you don't know one note from another.
Well, I have this revolutionary new method called the think system, where you don't bother with the notes.
But in 4 weeks, the people will want to hear music. You'll have to lead a band.
But when the uniforms arrive, they forget about everything else. At least long enough for me to collect and leave. This is a refined operation, son, and I got it timed down to the last wave of the brakeman's hand on the last train out of town. Now, if you'll excuse me, Mr. Washburn, I have a little bit of business to take care of.
You'll line yourself up a little bit, huh?
Well, I say, I can fix you up with that little sister.
Lovely girl. Teaches Sunday school.
No wide-eyed, eager, wholesome, innocent Sunday school teacher for me. That kind of gal spins webs no spider ever. Now listen, boy. A gal who trades on all that purity merely wants to trade my independence for her security. The only affirmative she will file refers to marching down the aisle, no golden, glorious, gleaming, pristine glass. No, sir, for no Diana do I play for, and I can tell you that right now. I snarl, I hiss, how can ignorance be compared to bliss? I spark, I fizz, for the lady who knows what time it is. I cheer, I rave, for the virtue I'm too late to save. The sadder, the wiser girl for me. No bright-eyed, blushing, breathless baby, not me. No, sir, that kind of child ties knots. No sailor ever knew. I prefer to take a chance on a more adult romance. No to a young miss who keeps resisting. All the time she keeps insisting. No wide-eyed, wholesome, innocent female. No, sir, why she's the fisherman, I'm the fish you see. Flop, I flinch, I shy. When the lass with the delicate air goes by, I smile, I grin. When the gal with a touch of sin walks in, and I hope and I pray for Hester to win just one more A. The sadder but wiser girl's a girl for me. The sadder but wiser girl for me.
We're all a dog. Simply a dog.
I'm a cute baby.
Everyone is so excited about the band.
I'm Ethel Choppelmeyer, the pianola girl.
And this is Mrs. Squire. And Mrs. Hicks. And of course you Lily who kept me shin, our mayor's wife. Isn't it exciting, you Lily? Oh.
Oh, I couldn't say. I could not say. Oh no, I could not say at this time. My husband will wish to investigate, I'm sure. And naturally, I'm reticent. Oh yes, I am reticent.
Well, of course, Mrs. Shin, I understand, but you see, part of my music plans include a committee on the dance and oh! Mrs. Shin, do that again. You're booked the way you raised it just now.
Oh, well, I have a bunion there that bothers me.
Oh, what grace, what natural flow and rhythm, what expression of line and movement.
Oh, Mr. Hill.
You must accept the chairmanship for the ladies' auxiliary for the classic dance, mustn't she, ladies?
Oh, you must, lady. You simply
Every
must.
move you make, Mrs. Shipby, speaks del salt. Will you? Will you? Say yes, Mrs. Shipby.
You Lady McKechnie ship. Well, dancing. Well.
Then you'll accept?
Yes, indeed, and I'll like to say
Thank you. And now, the young lady who plays the piano, Marion Peru, I think. Well, after all, she is the librarian.
Pick a little talk, little, pick a little talk, little, cheep, cheep, cheep. To the left, pick a little more. Pick a little talk, little, pick a little talk, little, cheep, cheep, cheep. To the left, pick a little more. Pick a little talk, little, pick a little talk, little, cheep, cheep, cheep. To the left, pick a little more. Pick a little talk, little, pick a little talk, little, cheep, 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 cheep. Pick a little fast, little, pick a little talk, little, cheep, cheep, cheep. All that, anything. Pick a little talk, little, pick a little talk, little, cheep, cheep, cheep. Dirty boss.
Dirty boss.
Pick a little talk, little,
Rather late.
pick a little talk,
Oh, that.
cheep, 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 cheep. Pick a little talk, little,
First thing, of course I should be told.
the man in the drum nice. Let me cheep, cheep, cheep.
Stop. I'll tell.
Oh.
She made brazen overtures to a man who never had a friend in this town till she came here. Old Miser Madison.
Miser Madison. Madison Picnic Park, Madison Hospital, Madison Gymnasium, that Miser Madison?
Exactly. Who did he think he was, anyway?
Well, I should say so. Show off! Gave the town a library too, didn't he?
Well, that's just it. When he died, he left the library building to the city. But
But he left all the books to her.
She was seen going and coming from his place.
Oh.
Yes. Oh, yes. That woman made brazen.
Talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, chip, 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 talk a little, pick a little more, pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, chip, 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 pick a little, more, pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, chip, 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 talk a little, here, take a little touch of me, chip, 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 he left River City, the library building, but he left all the books to her. Just a little good, red lace, a little more, pick a little, chip, 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 chip.
Just a minute, Professor. We need to see your credentials.
Well, of course, sir. I have just what you need over at the hotel. Follow me. Good night, ladies. Good night, ladies. Good night, ladies. Good night, ladies. We're going to leave you now. It's all right, I know everything and it doesn't matter.
What are you talking about?
You were probably very young and anyone can make a mistake.
What?
No apologies, no explanation. I'm only in town for a short while and the Sabbath of life's a girl for me.
Would you please make your selection and leave?
I have.
Well, what do you want to take out?
The librarian!
Quiet, please.
Shh, the librarian. You're not listening, Marion. Marion. Marbles. 6 Steelies, 8 Aggies, a dozen Pee-wees, and one big classy with the American flag. I think I'll drop.
No!
Madam Librarian. You see, I collect doorbells. This particular specimen has an unusual tone quality.
Flattery will not avail you. So listen, this statutory in this county, Mount these IANs without a permit. Now, why haven't you been down to City Hall with your references?
Why, I have, Mayor Shin, but I must have just missed you. And oh, Mayor Shin, your hand!
What?
The spread of your little finger. It's hereditary.
It is? What's that mean?
It means that your son's little finger is perfectly situated to operate the spit valve on a B-flat flugelhorn.
Is that good?
Good. It means that America has at last produced an artist who can flugle the minute waltz in 50 seconds.
How can I get one of those horns?
Sign here, Mayor Shin. And that will be $17 import fee.
Yes, just think. Well, we could have missed this whole thing. I haven't got any cider. You unscrupulous fly-by-night. You unflubulous. You be down to City Hall with your bag on papers at 3 o'clock.
This afternoon?
I couldn't make myself any plainer if I was a Quaker on his day off.
Mrs. Peru, do you realize that you have the facial characteristics of a cornet virtuoso?
I don't think I understand you entirely, Professor.
If your son has that same firm chin and those splendid cheekbones, by George, I mean, not that it could ever be really great, you see.
Oh! Is that so? And in the name of St. Bridget, why not?
Well, you see, all the really great cornet players were Irish. O'Clark, O'Mendez, O'Clyde.
But Professor, we are Irish.
No, really? Well, that clinches it. Thank you, Mrs. Peru. And that'll be $7 earnest money. Nothing more due until the first installment, payable on the opening day of band practice. Thank you. And of course, I'll need the boy's measurements for his band uniform.
His uniform?
Hello, son. Certainly, his uniform. And not a penny due until delivery, which gives the boy 4 weeks to enjoy, anticipate, and imagine. Never allow the demands of tomorrow to interfere with the pleasures and the excitement of today.
Would it have
A stripe? Certainly. It'll have a wide red stripe on each side. What do you think of that?
Oh. I hope you'll excuse Winthrop, Professor. We can't get him to say 3 words a day, not even to us. And if you can get him to play in that band, you'll have St. Michael's own way with you. But if anyone can do it, I'll bet you can. Out of a crowd, I'd pick you for a hod-carrying, clay-pipe-smoking, shamrock-wearing, harp-playing, Aberdeen pinching, Tara's Hall, minstrel singing Irishman. Be God, man, be jibbers, where you bring me by?
Gary, Indiana.
Oh, I knew it. Gary, where'd you say now?
Gary, Indiana. In fact, Gary Conservatory was my alma mater.
Was she now?
Yes, of course. Gold medal class of odd 5. How do, Miss Peru?
How to do, Mr. Hill?
Why, of course, Peru. I thought the name sounded familiar. I've been trying to see you ever since.
Oh, Marion! He wants to put Winthrop in the band.
We're not interested, Mama.
But Marion, the guy might have his father's musical gift. He does have guitar, you know.
Your husband's musical. Well, I'd love to have a conversation
Do
with
you
him.
burst in on everyone's homes like this? Prying into personal affairs? We're not interested.
Marion!
Well, that's 1 for and 1 against. Now, why not let the boy's father decide?
The boy's father is dead. Anything else?
Well, I'm sorry. But that's all the more reason why your brother should have something like this.
My brother is a 10-year-old problem child who can't figure out why his father was taken away. Would you care to explain it to him? He's been brooding about it for 2 years. And as for your musical tricks, why don't you go into business with some nice carnival man who sells gold-painted watches and glass diamond rings?
Musical tricks! Why, hardly, Miss Peru? I think she likes the idea. Oh, a little cautious, perhaps, but I admire that. Now, you just keep me alive, and I'll be back later in the week.
Oh, one moment, Professor. About the body's measurements. We take all his clothes. Sleeve 21, waist 18, crouch 14.
That'll be just fine. Now, I really must get back to my
Oh,
hotel.
Professor, please. I hope you'll excuse Marion. You see, she's not really...
Please, don't worry. I'm sure at heart she's as lovely as yourself. Good day to you, with a Peru.
Has he gone?
He has, and I hope not forever. Darling, don't you ever think of the future? Gary, Indiana conservation class at night. Now, darling, if you
Now,
would-
Mom. Surely a girl's future does not depend on her encouraging every self-centered, fast-talking, woman-chasing, traveling salesman that comes to town. And the fact that he claims his commodity is music does not, in this particular case, impress me.
All right, darling. All right. Only it's a well-known principle that if you keep the flint in one drawer and the steel in the other, you never strike much of a fire.
Mama! Winthrop, I know you're there. Winthrop, please go down to the library and ask Miss Grubb for the book I set aside. It's the Indiana State Educational Journal, 1890 to 1910. It's a large brown volume with black corners.
Do I have to?
You won't have to talk to anyone. I've written it all down. Thank you, dear.
Now, what are you up to? Why do you need books at this hour of the night?
I have a feeling the Indiana Journal will help me poke some large holes in the professor's claims.
Well, I give up. At your age, if you don't mind my asking, what kind of white knight do you expect to come riding along?
Well, it's not Luther Griner who backs me into the ancient history shelf every time he comes into the library.
He does?
Or Ed Gammage in that buggy of his with the removable back seat. But I'm not waiting for a man in shining white armor either. Night, night, not a Lancelot, nor an angel with wings, just someone to love me, who is not ashamed of a few nice things. Night, night, what my heart would say if it only knew how
It's a music holder for a marching piccolo player. Now, it still has a few minor flaws. When you make it tight enough to hold the music steady, you cut off circulation and you can't wiggle your fingers. Meanwhile, you could go blind.
Tommy, it's Papa.
Is that the first thing I said or not?
Yes, George.
Yes, the very first thing I said, or I leave paid with the horse. Get that spellbinder's credentials, I said. Morning of July the 4th, 1912. And now, my wife was out dancing at any and all hours instead of in the home.
But George.
The school board is singing up street and down alley instead of tending to city matters. My oldest girl was boodling around with some wild kid. And my business is falling off so far, I can't find the balance sheet.
Mayor Shin, I found something very interesting in the Indiana Journal about Professor Hill's alma mater.
Is who?
His university.
Oh, Dad, I know all about that. It's the only thing I can get out of him. Gary Conservatory, gold medal class, and all that.
If you just take a moment to read about the conservatory, I don't think you'll need to look any further. It's on page 310.
Papa, the Wells Fargo wagon is just coming out from the depot.
A likely story. At this hour of the day? Nonsense. The Wells Fargo wagon.
It could be the band instruments.
Oh, the band instruments? Ooh.
Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon is going down the street. Please let it be for me. Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon is going down the street. I wish I could let it be.
I got a box of maple sugar on my birthday.
And once I got a gray back
And once I got some grapefruit from Tampa. Montgomery Ward sent me a bathtub and a cross-cut stone.
Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon is up and rolling now. It's in a great big surprise to COD.
It could be curtains or dinner or a double order.
Yes, it could be. Yes, you're right. It surely could be.
Something special.
Something very, very special now.
But for me.
Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon is up, coming down the street. Oh, don't let it pass my door. Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon is up, coming down the street. I wish I knew what he was coming for.
I got some salmon from Seattle last September.
And I expect a new rocking chair.
I hope I get my raisins from Fresno.
The DA marks at the California Courthouse Square.
Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon is up coming now. I don't know how I get there for wait and see. Because it's something someone really now realizes what it could be. Something special just for me.
Here you are with your...
My cornet, thanks, Professor.
Men, you will each receive your instructions in due course, but in the meantime, stay off the streets, get acquainted with your instruments, and remember to think the minuet in G. La-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da. La-di-da.